What do you think is the most valuable consumer packaged brand in the world? Go ahead and shout it out. Apple, P&G, what else? Lego, okay. You know, originally I thought that it was none other than Nike. I'm rocking the Jordans today, right? I thought it was Nike. I was like, they sell a lot of shoes, a lot of t-shirts, clothing. It's got to be Nike, right? They have $51 billion in revenue annually. But it's not Nike. In fact, the answer surprised me. The answer was actually Kirkland Signature by Costco. My wife, who's right up here in the front, she was like, "Can I just wear the Kirkland Signature sweater? Is that okay?" And it shocked me. It shocked me that when I go to Costco, I buy everything, right? Dog treats, toilet paper, my baby wipes, you name it. If I want to buy it, Costco has it. And it's striking, right? When you think about where we buy items from, originally, you know, let's all think about Walmart for a second. My first job was at Walmart, special place in my heart. I used to unload trucks, I know, not fancy. But part of the thing about Walmart is as I would put up everything on the shelves, as I would unload trucks, there was always something on the banner. And what was on the banner was everyday low prices. You see, Walmart's competitive value proposition is that they beat everybody on price. Amazon's actually totally different. You see, Amazon, my wife and I, we just moved home probably about 3 weeks ago. Our home's an entire mess right now. But Amazon doesn't sell on price. You see, if I wanted to buy something on Amazon, I get the one-click buy, and it's at my house the next day. We all know that, right? What do they sell on? What's their value prop? Go ahead and shout it out. Heck yeah. Convenience. That is it. And so if there's price and convenience as ways for retailers to disrupt, what struck me about Costco is not about what they do, it's about what Costco doesn't do. To tell you about that, I need to bring you a few steps back to the 1950s. There's this Jewish lawyer in the Bronx, okay? His name's Solomon Price. Good old Saul. He moves from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast and ends up in San Diego in the 1950s. Now, back then, San Diego was nothing to call home about. I hope none of you, anyone from San Diego here? Okay, good. San Diego was about 115,000 people. Saul starts his flourishing legal practice. And he finds his first client. And one of his first few clients is none other than 4-Star Jewelry. They have a bunch of retail stores. And as he digs into their business, he realizes one really unique thing. Because not only does 4-Star Jewelry sell to people, they also sell wholesale. And 70% of all of 4-Star Jewelers' purchases were by one company. Fedco. So Fedco is this nonprofit organization in the 1950s. After World War II, what happened was they got about 800 federal workers, postal workers. They pooled all of their purchasing power together. They charged them a membership, and they were able to buy things en masse. So Saul sees this, and he thinks to himself, oh my gosh, that is a business idea. That's disruption. So he says, hey, Fedco, can I please bring a Fedco to San Diego? What do you think the answer was? Yeah, nah. They're like, no, we're good. Saul tries again. He says, please, Fedco, like this is such a great idea. Let me bring this to San Diego. And they say no. The board at some point gets to this point where they're like, you know what? We don't know who you are, Saul. But we'll tell you what, we're a nonprofit. We don't actually want to make money. Why don't you go ahead and just build it yourself? We don't really care. Saul launches FedMart. FedMart, fast forward like 75 years. FedMart goes to become Price Club and then eventually becomes Costco. And I can't help but think about Costco 75 years ago with the decisions that they were making. Most people believe that our limits hold us back. But actually, the truth is that our limits set us free. And I got obsessed by asking the question, how is Costco defined by its limits? Some of y'all are like, wow, this guy really likes Costco. Number one, I've got 3 ways. Number one is they limit profit. So most retailers, what they do is they will mark up, you've got a nice t-shirt on, right? They'll mark your t-shirt up 100% and then sell it to you. They'll try to make about 35% profit margins. Costco, what they do is they actually sell things and they max their profit out at 15%. They won't take home anything else. And one of the reasons for that is, as anyone a member, by the way, while I rave about how great Costco is? Yeah, my familia! Because they're limiting their profit, they're able to just pass all of those savings directly onto you. And you start to rave about that. The second thing that they do is they limit stocking. Now, you go into Walmart or anywhere else, Superstore, most places have shelves on the space where they've meticulously put them there, right? They want you to buy them. Costco doesn't actually care that much. You see, they have a warehouse, you show up, everything's on a pallet, and it's self-service. You go ahead and pick out what you want. Nobody has to stock shelves at all. And as a result, they don't have to invest in all of the labor that's required. They can focus all of their labor towards cashiers. Not only that, when it comes to limiting stocking, any guesses as to how many items you could buy at a Walmart? At one Walmart, what do you think? Go ahead and yell it out. 60,000, 100,000. I feel like an auctioneer right now. 240,000 different items in a single Walmart. Costco? 3. You hear that? Dervin's like, 3,000. I love this story. Keep going. Yeah, 3,000. Costco has 400% less inventory than any of their competitors. You see, by focusing on the fewest amount, by limiting how much they're actually placing in the stores, they're focusing on the items that most consumers are going to buy time and time and time again. I think as Teresa and I moved into our new place, we have like 4 boxes of baby wipes now. We don't need them, but we have them. The last thing that they limit is marketing. Now, you might think that, don't get me wrong, Costco does a little bit of marketing through these mailers, right? I can't get rid of them. Teresa always hangs on to them, and she's like, we are not throwing any of these coupons out. But they also limit marketing because it's a membership-driven base, right? As we've hit the social media trend of TikToker influencers and IG and all of that, what's beautiful about it is they don't have to sell anything to you. All of the IG influencers will. And so by placing all of these limits on themselves, that's actually how they've been able to disrupt. You see, they've disrupted for the last 74 years, and it's nothing fancy. It's not AI, right? Normally I talk about AI. It's not AI. This is the most stable, flourishing company, I would argue, in the world. And what's remarkable is, in terms of how we place this for us today, it's a question of how do we leverage our limits. Number one is to widen our aperture. Identify what those limits actually are in your functions, in your careers, in your organizations, in your teams. The future of work is not going to be done in a bubble. Number two, how do we discover bridgeable opportunities? Meaning, just like Saul discovered what seemed to be unrelated, a nonprofit with 800 postal workers, how can I take an idea like that and I apply that to my life today? And then last but not least, taken from the second most valuable CPG company in the world, how do we just do it? You see, decisions that are disruptive aren't necessarily decisions that are made time and time and time again, which I get it, we're in an agile, adaptive world. But what are those decisions on limits that we can place on ourselves that will actually let us fly? Not for this decade, not for the next, but for the next 74. We drive disruption not by what we do, but by what we choose not to do. I am so glad that all of you are here. My name is JQ. With that, I'll pass it back to Aaron Cho.